Hi, fourth graders. In this video, you are going to find the elements of poetry. These are all of the vocabulary words from Love That Dog that you will need to know by the end of our poetry unit. So your goal is to know what all of these words mean by the end of the unit. Your first word, which all of your words have to do with poems this month, so things we can find in poems. So the first one is imagery, and you'll see the word image in imagery, and we know the word image means picture. So imagery means painting a picture in your mind. So I added a little poem here for you that helps you paint a picture in your mind. It says, "Holy cow, he is so fast, ran through the door, made of glass, into the kitchen with a crash, knocked over the table, then into the trash." And you can finish reading that one on your own, but you can definitely picture that turkey causing trouble in the kitchen. We also have the word rhyme. We know what rhyme means. It's words that have the same ending sounds. A lot of poems have rhyme, but not all poems have rhyme. So in this poem called Open a Book, we'll take a look at the different words that rhyme. Open a book and you will find people and places of every kind. Open a book and you can be anything you want to be. Open a book and you can share wondrous words you find in there. Open a book and I will too. You read to me and I'll read to you. So we have find and kind that rhyme. We have be and be, they don't rhyme, but they're the same word with the same ending. We have share and there. We also have to and you. So those are our rhyming words for that poem. Simile is our next word. We've talked about similes and metaphors in the past. We've talked about them being figurative language. Simile, remember, is when we're comparing two things using the words like or as. You have to see those words in there. So this simile poem talks about what a simile is and gives you some examples. So it says similes, comparing two things. It is simple as can be, just use like or just use as or like, and you have a simile. So here's some examples of that. He was hungry as a bear. She was busy as a bee. Jam is sticky as honey. The house is tall as a tree. So those are all similes using the word as, and then we have some using the word like. Stars twinkle like diamonds. Joe is sly like a fox. Sally swims like a fish, and the shirt smelled like socks. So comparing two things using the words like or as is a simile. We also have metaphors. This is another form of figurative language, but when we're comparing things in a metaphor, we say that one thing is another thing. So the title of this poem is a metaphor. The night is a big black cat. The night is a big black cat. The moon is her topaz eye. So the moon is her eye. The stars are the mice she hunts at night in the field of the sultry sky. All right, so we're comparing night to the cat, moon to her eye, and stars to the mice using the words are or is. Alliteration is your next word. Alliteration is something like a tongue twister. So it's repetition of the words with the same beginning sound. So rhyme is the same ending sound, alliteration is the same beginning sound. I like to think of tongue twisters because they have a lot of alliteration. So we have tigers. Tim the terrifying tiger tiptoes through tangled trees. He is twitching, his twitching tail thumping, his terrible teeth terrifying turtles who tumble away. So we see a lot of T sounds in this poem, so that is alliteration. Repetition is using the same word or phrase over and over again. So repetition, you can kind of hear the root word repeat in there. And this is a poem about being car sick, and they repeat or use repetition where it says, I am car sick. I'm car sick, open a window. I'm car sick, take this pill. I'm carsick, rest your eyes. I'm carsick, shh, be still. I'm carsick, drink some ginger ale. I'm carsick, can you try to wait? I'm carsick, now we're almost there. I feel better. Darn, too late. So I'm carsick is the repetition here, kind of a silly poem. We also have the word personification. You'll see the word person in personification, and that's important because it's also a figure of speech, but it is in which objects are given human qualities. So things like, I know that clouds aren't people, but they're looking glum today. So they look glum. That's something a person usually does, but now we're talking about a cloud and using that. So I say they are pouting. That's another thing a human does that a cloud can't really do. That's personification. As I watch the sky turn gray. Now, the sky is not a person, but I feel its raindrop tears. So the sky is not a person, but it's having tears in this poem. And it's also crying. So I say that it is crying. And then the sun appears. Here's some more. The sun is not a person, but its warmth spreads like a grin. So I say the sun is smiling, and the sky cheers up again. So the sun can't really smile, the sky can't really cry, and the clouds can't really be glum, but that's personification giving them human qualities. We have onomatopoeia. This is my favorite one. It's words that sound like the objects or actions they refer to. So there's a lot of them in this little short poem called Crack an Egg. It says, crack an egg, stir the butter, break the yolk, make it flutter, stroke the heat, hear the sizzle, shake the salt, just a drizzle. So words like crack, like when you crack something, it sounds like that word. So that is an onomatopoeia. Stir is also an onomatopoeia. Break is an onomatopoeia. Sizzle is my favorite onomatopoeia. It sounds like the sound you hear when something is sizzling. And then shake is another one, and drizzle is also an onomatopoeia. We have the word hyperbole. We know this as exaggeration. So hyperbole is some sort of exaggeration you would hear in a poem. So it's to make something seem larger or more important than it really is. So here's one about a fish, and the picture really makes it a hyperbole. I once caught a fish. My dad and I went fishing. The whole time I was wishing to catch a big fish. I cast out my line. Just in time, I got a bite. I pulled it in over my shoulder. It was bigger than a boulder from the Grand Canyon. Its head was larger than a swimming pool. Man, this is going to look cool in my picture. And then in the picture, you can see how much she is exaggerating that fish. So that word is hyperbole. We also have stanza. This is our last one. Stanza is talking about how we divide up a poem. So this poem, The Little Turtle, has 1, 2, 3 stanzas, and they're made up of what we call lines. So each stanza in this poem has 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and then the poem as a whole has 3 stanzas. So the little turtle. There was a little turtle. He lived in a box. He swam in a puddle. He climbed on the rocks. He snapped at a mosquito. He snapped at a flea. He snapped at a minnow, and he snapped at me. He caught the mosquito. He caught the flea. He caught the minnow, but he didn't catch me. So that's stanza. That's referring to the groups of lines in a poem. So 3 stanzas in this little turtle poem. All right, so throughout the unit, you'll want to refer back to this video and these words. It'll help you a lot when you are working on your Love That Dog packet. And then we'll also do a little quiz about these words at the end of the unit.